when I started Best Robotics, I was definitely not an engineer in any sense of the term. And I really was just there to hang out with my friends initially because, hey, your friends are doing stuff, you want to do stuff with them. But what's interesting is that in the last 2 years of Best Robotics, especially the last year, I discovered that I really enjoyed making videos about the group of people and us as we were getting together making things. There was another kid that made videos initially, and I remember that, oh gosh, he used every single video transition that existed in the video editor. You want star wipes? We got star wipes. You want rolls? You want spins? You want flips? Just completely over the top. But to me, as a young high school student, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I'm like, this is incredible looking. Oh my gosh. I know we did not have permission to use any of the music. It was just like, where did this go? We don't know what we're doing. We're just trying stuff. And so after he had left the group the next year, I was like, well, I could try making a video. Cue me being given one of the family's hand-me-down VHS tape cameras that I began immediately running around with. And what was great is that I suddenly wasn't necessarily building the robot as much, but I was documenting everybody else building the robot.
I participated in Best Robotics as a student in 1997 with the game Dynamite Duel. I was a senior in high school and heard about the Best Robotics program. I think it was the second year that our school had done it. And we actually participated in Brazos Best and had to do a little bit of traveling.
So I actually first heard about BEST when I was living in Oklahoma and I was in the 4th grade. The science teacher at the high school, through connections with my mom who taught at the local university, said that there was this program all about engineering and that I might be interested in it. So I went to the kickoff that year. I ultimately didn't take part with that team more than going to their design meetings, but that was the year for the game Mission to Hubble, which was all about building a robot that was going to go on the end of effectively the Canada arm on the space shuttle to service the Hubble Space Telescope. And that was really cool. So then when I got to high school, after my family had moved to Texas, and I found that the school I was in had BEST, that was really cool. I got to compete there, and by that point in time, I was pretty set on my path. Computer programming and systems engineering were what I wanted to do, so I worked with the team that wrote the software for the robot.
And we were at a homeschool conference. So basically, it's this big conference, and like homeschool like co-ops and homeschool sports and extracurriculars, they all come and they have booths and all this. And robotics comes up. Now, I played baseball. I was a band kid. I'm not technically challenged. I'm not big on electronics and all that. And Mom was like, "Hey, you want to do robotics?" And I'm like, "Robotics? That doesn't sound like something I'd be good at." And we went, we talked, and there's marketing. There's a trade show booth. There's marketing presentations. I can build things. I'm good at that. And I was like, you know what? A little reluctant. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, I mean, so I'd say, growing up, I didn't really have any like family members or any role models that were really into like an engineering type of profession. And so I guess towards my senior year of high school, we actually had a technology program at Denton High School where you kind of got exposed to some of that. And so that they had the BEST program there.
For me, it's such a unique environment. I think the BEST program is because it's the type of active learning environment that you don't really get a lot of when you're coming up, in public schools and in charter schools, things like that. And so, first of all, the environment was just really interesting to me. I've been around BEST my whole life, it seems. But unfortunately, it wasn't until my senior year that we were able to get my high school club up and running because we needed a teacher who was willing to take on the project too. So it was only my senior year that I was able to participate. But yeah, it was a really exciting experience. We were a small team, so we we were busy and just figuring it all out. I mean, you're literally given a box of parts right at the beginning, and a mentor, and you're expected to create a robot that can compete. And so I think the goal-oriented nature of the project really suited the way that I like to work and learn. And then the collaborative environment was just really interesting too.
And then I remember that I made this completely over the top video. Did not use as many transitions as that first kit, but I used a lot of transitions still. And I remember that we set up our booth at BEST. I brought my home speaker system, just like blast sound out into the auditorium, completely over the top, but just so much fun. And I remember I'm pretty sure it was at that BEST that I actually met a girl that I took to prom. So maybe it was the video, I don't know, but that worked out well for me. Anyways, she's not here anymore. Don't worry, I married a different woman. Anyways,
my primary area on the BEST team was more on the marketing presentation and community involvement. So I, back in '97, created a web page, talked with sponsors, got some funding, even worked with a local construction company to build part of the field for us to practice on. And so I was part of the team that then kind of gave a marketing presentation to the judges at both the Brazos Best and Texas Best regional competition.
And actually, one of the things that LASA did that a lot of teams do now, but was somewhat unique at the time, was we did a full 3D modeling for drivers to practice with the robot before we'd even built it, so that they could give us feedback for, well, the arm is kind of clunky. It doesn't go where I think it should. Or, man, this drive scheme just doesn't work. Can we tweak that? And I worked with the guys who wrote the simulator code, and then later we port the feedback we got from that onto the real robot.
Wichita was our kickoff, and everything, it was all secretive, and the field was hidden, and it was this huge spectacle. And it was like, I really like this. And 6 weeks later, still no idea, fully grasping what I'm getting into. And I get to game day, and there's full bands, marching bands. It's like, this is louder than any football game that I've been to. And I started falling in love with kickoff, and it took that one game day, and I completely fell in love with everything about it.
And so that was, BEST Robotics was really my first exposure to, being around a lot of other people that were really into electronics and engineering. And I think that really sparked a lifelong passion, of wanting to solve technical problems. And it's really, getting into that stuff was the main reason I chose to pursue a degree in electrical engineering, which eventually led me to Texas Instruments. So I think, BEST really helped be that spark to get me interested into that field.
I enjoyed the program mostly because I did get to dabble in a lot of little different things. Some days you're very hands-on constructing, wheels and mounting them onto your robot or wiring some things. And the next day, you're back to the drawing boards, thinking creatively about how to problem solve an issue that you just encountered with your robot. So for me, my favorite thing about the program was just sort of navigating the flow of thinking creatively and then thinking like an engineer, like a scientist, and analyzing problems and coming up with solutions. So, I had a great time in my year at Capital BEST.